ladies and gentlemen. Christine here with another weekly episode of the Co-Living Code Show. And first, I just have to say, I love doing this show. I really do. I know it's a passion project. It should be fun, but it truly is. I just really enjoy having these conversations with operators from around the world and investors that, they saw the future. And now it's really exciting because co-living's catching on and they're not the crazy ones anymore. Again, a lot of these people I get to speak with have been doing this since like 2012. So imagine trying to explain your concept back then, right? My next guest today, I'm so excited. So I got to spend 24 hours in Amsterdam this week. I was just there for one day before heading to Oslo, Norway, and got to stay at Zoku. So I had co-worked from there back in June and July. So 2 months of being part of that community, co-working there, when I didn't really know anybody in Amsterdam because all my Techstars cohort friends had went back to their homes when Techstars ended, but I stayed back in Amsterdam. And Zoku just did such an incredible job of plugging me in. And so it was fun to actually go back there, actually stay the night there in their incredible rooms, and then, talk with Hans again. And me and Hans used to have all these amazing conversations this summer while I was there. He's usually there on site, and we'd sit and we'd talk co-living, and I kept saying, we need to hit record, we need to hit record. And, we never filmed the show. And so now I said, hey, I'm there for one day. Can we please just sit down and record a show? And he is so gracious with his time and such an incredible human. Such a great backstory. He started citizenM back in the day, that hotel brand. So he has incredible hospitality background. And to actually see the future of co-living, which we talk about in this episode, I get so excited to talk to him because he definitely can see 10, 20 years out, when most people are just maybe looking a couple years out. He knows this is the way that co-living is going to change. And his brand is a higher end brand. And so that's kind of a space in the market that is just starting to start out and evolve, versus the mid range. So let me not waste any more time. Let me read his bio quickly for you guys, for those that don't already know him. And then we'll launch right into the episode. Hans Meyer is the co-founder and managing director of Zoku, a reinvented apartment hotel concept located in Amsterdam with 2 more locations launching next year, Vienna and Copenhagen. Zoku is the future of urban living, facilitating global living and working for the independent traveling professional. Having launched in 2016 and co-founded by Marc Jongerius, Zoku has created a new category in the hotel industry, a home office hybrid with the services of a hotel and the social buzz of a thriving neighborhood. After 150 interviews, over 6,000 feedback comments, and 7 prototypes, they created the multi-award-winning Zoku Loft. As a firm believer of value creation and innovation for the international hospitality industry, Hans started the development of various new hotel concepts and business models. He's also the initial creator and a former founding partner of the award-winning citizenM hotel concept, responsible for concept, creativity, design, and development for this new international hotel chain. Before Zoku and Hotels Ahead, which Hans founded in 2003, he worked for large international hotel chains like NH Hotels and Golden Tulips Hotels, Inns and Resorts. He has held senior corporate positions in operations and development with a responsibility for projects throughout Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and Central America. Hans is a mentor for the Rockstar Accelerator Startup Program, a member of the advisory board of the Hub Amsterdam, and has been educated at Hotel School The Hague and Cornell University in the United States. So here we go. We will launch into this week's episode, and I know you guys will enjoy it. Hello, everybody. Christine here with a special in-person episode of the Co-Living Code Show. I have Hans Meyer on, the founder of Zoku in Amsterdam, which I personally worked from June and July. We had amazing conversations. We kept trying to film the show. Now we finally get to do it. So I'm back here. I stayed here for the first time. Loved this space. So thank you so much for coming on and telling everybody your journey. So let's start back in the citizenM days. That was early 2000s, right?
Yeah, that was early 2000s. So I started a concept which is currently known as citizenM. Was a founding partner over there. It was very much interesting to see, okay, how can you innovate in the hotel space? And at that time, you basically had 1-star hotels and 5-star hotels and everything in between. The interesting thing, I think, around citizenM is that The concept is about creating the best out of the 5 and the 1-star and merge that together into affordable luxury for the people. So that was the first journey, and I think citizenM is a great concept and incredibly successful also globally. And after that I started to work on Zoku, because at that time I felt it was possible for people to work and live internationally, while at the same time there were not real good accommodations for that. So obviously we know the traditional extended stay hotels, often the rooms are a little bit bigger, but they lack a kind of a social structure. While if you work and live internationally, maybe the social structure becomes incredibly important. So that together with Marc Jongerius, who's co-founder, we worked on Zoku, and the first thing that I did is to actually step into the shoes of your own target audience. So I lived for 6 months globally. So 2 months in Buenos Aires, 2 months in Washington DC, and 2 months in Bali, to really understand how is it if you work and live internationally, and what makes you happy, what frustrates you. And it was a great piece of insight. After that, I started to talk to 150 people from the target audience. So, for example, Pascal, who lived in 35 countries in just 5 years, to really understand also how do they behave, and also what frustrates them or what they don't like. Because in order you want to solve a certain kind of a problem. And this was so interesting that at Zoku we decided to continue to work together with the target audience to build the entire concept.
I love that. So let's dive into that, because that's my favorite part of the story of the origins of Zoku, is how you guys tested the rooms, and what, from people from booking.com, like didn't you guys pull different employees and have like a prototype?
Yeah. So what's quite common in our industry that you build one prototype. Well, we built 6.
6.
And
you guys 6.
6. And we actually didn't start with a floor plan. That's, I mean, the most obvious thing that often designers or architects start with. But we started first with to find out what are people actually doing in the room, and especially this specific target audience, which don't only need a kind of a place to stay or a kind of a bed to sleep, but they also need to work. They also want to socialize. They maybe want to connect with people in their private space. So that was the first thing. Then there was an important nut that we had to crack, because if you look to extended stay apartments, or apartments anyway, they're often bigger than hotel rooms. But if you put that in a kind of an Excel model, you will see that in, well, expensive areas, those hotel rooms often generate more return than a bigger apartment. So we said, are we able to create a kind of a hybrid between a home and an office, where you find everything, where you can live comfortably but also can work efficiently in the same space as a normal hotel room, which was just 250 square meters. So basically what we wanted to do is, are we able to create a spacious micro apartment in the same size of a normal hotel room? And first we built small models that you could hold in your hand, and we went to different companies and we said, okay, what do you think? Would you accommodate your people in here? And we also talked to the people from the target audience. Then we built real life models, so a maquette on a real life scale. And for every maquette we invited 100 to 150 people from the target audience to actually evaluate it with it. Then we built one with the final materials. In the last prototype, we actually even used new technologies like mobile EEG scanning, that people got brain scanners on and cameras.
I love that.
And we could measure 2 emotions, anxiety and excitement, and that actually helped us to validate the final parts of the Zoku Loft.
And wasn't there a little, I love the story too you tell, where there was like a leather strap that they were getting anxious because they didn't know how to open something.
Sometimes it can be very simple. So we had a kind of a certain screen that people need to open up when they want to sleep over there. But you saw a lot of people struggling, and we actually saw it in the data. So just to make it even a little bit more intuitively, we just added a kind of a leather strap, and that totally solved it. So these kind of small details, the last details, it's great to experiment with these kind of new technologies as well. And currently we are working on new prototypes. We exactly go to the same procedure. So we build up a new prototype here in this building, and we ask people who actually stay with us or live with us for a few days, few weeks, or even a few months to come over and to give us their feedback. And that helps us again to elevate our concept and bring it to a higher level again.
I love that. So you're not going to model exactly, and we're going to talk about the two new locations coming up. You're not going to model, like, is it different size Is that why in the new buildings?
No, sometimes in any case, if you want to scale, for example, you want to be as flexible as possible. And currently, our current loft, we needed a height of 3 meters, we needed a certain grid size, but with the new models, including the updated old models, we are far more flexible. So that's kind of the main reason. And the basic idea more or less remains the same, so that you enter into a home instead of a typical hotel room, that you can hide away the bed, which is also important, that you find a couch and a table, these kind of things, and a small kitchen, that you can personalize the space. These things are important, but the way how we use space, even smarter, that still is changing.
Okay. No, and I love you guys make the best use of space. And again, like just staying there, I'm like, oh, because it can configure either way, right?
Yeah.
Like you can have people over for gathering and you can kind of tuck things away and not be workspace, not have a bed out.
Yeah.
Like it's just really well use of space.
Yeah. So I mean, for us, there are a few things which are crucial for Zoku. One of our brand values, you decided, actually, we want that Zoku adapts to you instead of the other way around. Second thing is better together. We very much believe in connections and connecting people and ideas. That's also our mission. Pioneering is a very important thing. We like to play with space because we don't believe in cramped space. We just believe in creating a lot of space on a relatively small floor plan. And at the same time, which is crucial if you are working and living international, comfort becomes pretty important for your well-being. So these, I think, 4 brand values are very visible in Zoku.
Yes, and I can attest to that. Coming straight from Los Angeles, 9-hour time difference. I slept so good because the room was dark, the bed was comfortable.
Yeah.
I just felt like so comfortable here immediately.
Yeah.
And got a good night's rest. So let's talk about better together. Your team is, and I've told him this already a million times, his staff is incredible. And just the way that you guys activate common areas and introduce people. Like, what are some of your tips and tricks and secrets on how you guys engage your members so quickly?
So I think the most important thing is, if you look to traditional hotels or extended stay hotels or apart hotels, they are not built around a kind of a social structure. The only segment I feel that does it well in our industry are hostels. I mean, you jump out of your bunk bed, you say, I'm going to grab one coffee, and 2 hours later you're still on that big table with a lot of people that you didn't met before. But at some point in your life, you don't want to sleep in the bunk bed anymore, you don't want to share the bathroom or the corridor, and you want to have a kind of more decent place. But it was interesting to see is how can we redesign those social spaces. And basically what we want to achieve is to create spaces where people can make effortless connections. So what we did is we took out all the traditional barriers that you find in a normal hotel. So there's no big reception desk, there's no closed-off bar, there's not a living kitchen where you actually never see a chef. We open up everything, and it gives people actually the opportunity to always stand next to a staff member, which we call sidekicks, instead of opposite. So that, from a design point of view, it becomes very informal. But at the same time, I mean, community is also kind of a buzzword, but community is really hard work, especially in the beginning when you need to build a community. And that means that we have a full-time community manager working, that's Hidde. And Hidde, his main job is actually connect people with each other and to facilitate it. And we have a lot of kind of cool rituals. So for example, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we get fika, which is a Swedish ritual around coffee, tea, and pastries. We offer that for free to our residents, but also to the local members who co-work here in Zoku. And then you get a very interesting combination between those local Amsterdam people who like to be in this international vibe, the international people who start to know Amsterdam very easily, and our sidekicks are also very much focused on connecting those people with each other. So it's a very informal communication. And the funny thing is really that people come here, residents for example, they start to almost behave at it's their own space. So sometimes I see a guest picking up the empty glasses, bringing them to the bar because they feel, okay, it's also a little bit kind of my space.
Yeah, I love that. No, and that's exactly, it's super international. I think it's just you guys are so good at making internationals feel like a part of a community just out the gate immediately.
Yeah.
Which that's huge.
It's also a little bit our vision on our business model. So a hotel business model is normally putting heads in beds. That's the model. We feel that we are able to help people ground into the city. We feel that we can help people building up a local social and professional network. And it's also the entire idea around loneliness, where we often feel that's the elderly guy divorced of 60 years old. But actually, we meet a lot of people where you actually don't expect it, very young, sociable people, but still feel lonely here. And that's something that we really want to define here. We want to help people to build up immediately when they land here a few connections that they start to feel at ease. And I think that's also what we're very good at, especially our staff is very good at.
Your staff's amazing. I know. I haven't seen Hida yet. Is he here today?
I think Hid is here today, but I'm not sure yet.
He's a saint because again, I was in the Techstars program, so I had all these built-in friends for 3 months, and then everybody left when the program ended. But I stayed. But I didn't know anybody, and he just was constantly, "Hey, Christine, hey, just so you know, we're doing this wine social tonight. Tonight you should come."
Yeah.
And I remembered seeing it, but again, I'd forgotten, or when you have that little extra push of somebody says, "Hey, you should come."
Exactly.
Pulls you and draws you in. You guys also do the Tuesday night dinners, right? You
guys
have these
community dinners,
long dinner tables, great conversations.
Yeah.
Another way of engagement.
Well, it's, for example, food and beverage. A lot of operators find that kind of complicated. But if you look in any culture globally, the most social activity between people is sharing bread, cheese, and wine. And that's basically what we brought into Zoku. So every Tuesday we got this community dinner. The long-staying guests, we invite them, the first comers, for free, so that they can connect with each other. They can start to know the other people. And we feel that with regards to great community management, it's mostly about bridging the first gap. So the first reason to help people come up and to meet other people. If you can help them to already build a few connections, then it starts to develop from itself.
And then they don't want to leave, right? Because this is their community and their home, right?
Well, some people call us their extended family, so which I think is a great compliment.
That's a huge compliment. Yeah. No, and even I was so excited just to come back here. I'm like, yes, I get to go work from Zoku when I land. So no, just a big testament to how much work you've put into the concept. So I know you guys have 2 openings coming up in the next year or 2, right? Yeah. Which 2 cities?
Yeah, in Vienna, that will open up most probably next year, September. And Copenhagen around November next year. So those 2 cities, incredibly cities, great locations, and I'm sure that Zoku also will be a success over there.
And then is it ground up, or did you guys rehab a building?
No, it's both ground up. That also has a little bit to do with the current real estate market.
Yes.
There are not a lot of redundant buildings at the moment. And those 2 are ground up. For example, Zoku Amsterdam used to be an office building, and I really like how we did this here, and we really love also to have access to existing buildings. So basically, we're flexible. Whether it's existing buildings, new builds, we can do both.
I love that. So any developers listening, you guys are looking for more locations, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Are you guys going to stay in Europe for the time being?
Yeah, key focus is currently on European gateway cities.
Okay. That makes sense. But hopefully to the States sometime.
At some point, we definitely will go to the States.
I love hearing that. And so I know you guys do a lot of corporate, so you've got this great, beautiful rooftop area, and, on our YouTube channel, we'll show B-roll of your facilities. You guys host, I know, a lot of corporate events here too, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of, we work together with a lot of corporates here in Amsterdam, international corporates as well. But we also work together with great online platforms. So for example, the Next Web, which is one of the biggest tech conferences which we have globally. It's an amazing conference. And during the period that it's here, we host all the speakers. They stay with us. We have kind of family-style dinner with all the speakers, around 120 people, where actually Boris, who's the founder of the Next Web, and myself, we cook for a group of people.
So you guys are in the kitchen?
Yeah, of course, with a lot of people from the kitchen themselves. But it's a very informal setting. It's one of the coolest events we have. But these kind of cooperations we like as well.
Oh, I love that. No, I went to the Next Web. That is an incredible conference, by the way. And I've met Boris. He's a character. So I can't even imagine you two in the kitchen.
Absolutely.
That was fun. Good deal. Okay. So my last question I love to ask everybody is, where do you see the future of co-living if we fast forward 10 years?
So I think co-living is currently at quite an early stage. It's mainly associated with maybe smaller footprints, with also a younger target audience. But I feel that the industry will move towards different segments into the market. So there will be a place for more affordable options. There will also be a place for more lifestyle options. At the end of the day, I think the true success of co-living depends on that people want to be there, instead of just it's the most affordable option or it's the option that I can find. And I feel that definitely it will go there. If you look to a few mega trends globally, of course you got the affordability gap in housing, the strong growth of single person households, the strong growth of loneliness, for example, into cities, the fact that these kind of places you can combine work and living in the same building saves a lot of commuting
Yes.
maybe. So there are a lot of pros and mega trends actually pushing this model forward. And I feel that in different business models, the demand is there. The demand definitely will grow, and I feel this is a very positive segment to go for.
For sure. And your guys' average age again is for the people that stay here?
Yeah, it's a little bit older than the traditional, maybe the 25. Our average age is around mid-30s. And which is also pretty interesting. Normally in the hotel industry here in Amsterdam, it's around 30 to 35% women, the rest are men. But here we have a kind of a 50-50 division, which is also great. I think it's a great balance of people here. And also if you look here to the local members in the international, it's an incredibly interesting mix where people, actually can cross-pollinate their ideas. So, and this social part, that's the real success of Coliving.
And it's fun because you're here a lot. Like you're on site, so you get to see it in person, right?
And I think it's one of the key things that, especially when you grow, it's crucial to keep in touch with your target audience. So every week I sit down with one of the residents who stay with us and just ask him or her, what can we do better? Where do you see the world of work is moving to? Where can we adapt ourselves? And it's the same thing with all the prototype testing. I'm also part of those focus groups. I want to hear directly from people, what are their ideas, what are the solutions, what kind of problem they want to solve for their future. So that's a great way of working together.
No, and that's great market research, right? It's
Absolutely.
like hands-on, or the corporates. What the corporates are doing is they'll pay like the first 2 months.
Yeah.
For someone to relocate here, maybe from the States,
Yeah.
they come here,
Yeah.
but then they fall in love with living here, right?
Yeah,
They probably don't
exactly.
want to leave.
Yeah.
But again, from just me talking to people that have lived here, they just loved it.
Yeah.
Just every aspect, the healthy food you guys have in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's like, gosh, I miss that. I can come to work and have my food made and have an amazing healthy lunch.
And that's also, the great feedback is also really for our staff. They really do an amazing job. Very, very, very nice people, which I also see as part of my family.
No, I bet. They're amazing. So great. Hans, thank you so much for doing this interview. Really appreciate it. Glad we finally got to sit down. We've talked so many times.
Yeah.
I'm like, we have to get you on an interview.
You're more than welcome.
Thanks
a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for checking out today's episode. If you want to learn more about co-living, you could check out my book on Amazon, The Co-Living Code. And of course, if you're looking for the perfect software to power your co-living concept, check out kindred.io, KNDRD.io. Thanks. And a quick thank you to SPX Agency for all of the graphics, animation, and design on our YouTube channel.